Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the first video of the year 2022. Now, unfortunately, it's going to be a little while till we get our very first reaction video because it looks like Morbius is delayed again. So that movie is now supposed to come out April 1st of this year instead of January, and that sucks because I was really looking forward to seeing that at the end of the month, but whatever. It looks like we'll just kind of have to wait. So then I think the next first reaction video of me in my car will probably be in February when Uncharted comes out with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. So got some wait there, so I am sorry, but I do have some other videos that I have planned now that I know that I have the rest of the month of January open. So I've got some other projects that I might bring to the table here and there. And if you follow me on social media, I've already kind of posted the video that I'm going to be talking about right now, and that is my top 5 movies of 2021. Now, as a whole, 2021 was good and bad for me as a person. But as far as movies go, it was a really, really great year for movies. I saw a lot of great stuff. A lot of stuff I want to talk about today. All in all, just a really good time. Even though, there was a point where we were kind of starting to move away from the pandemic and now it kind of came back. Movies still came in very strong and there was a lot of just great moments for film and just a lot of great films in general this year. Despite everything that I went through and what the world was going through, at least we had some really great movies that we could sit back in the theater and watch safely or via streaming, watching it on Blu-ray, DVD, whatever. And I probably should have released this video at the end of last year, but timing and everything, I'm just gonna do it right now. So before we get into the top 5, I am going to list off 3 honorable mentions that even though they didn't make the top 5, I still recommend you seeing these 3 movies just based on what I've seen and how I thought about the movies. So the first honorable mention is actually the first video that I actually did my very first reaction video for when I first moved from home, and that is Halloween Kills. Now, despite what critics and some of the other fans think about this movie, I personally loved Halloween Kills. I think it was definitely everything that the title says it all. It's a much more darker film. It's a lot more bloodier film. And I think it's a great continuation from where Halloween 2018 ended off and where it picks up and where it goes. I enjoyed every second of it. I kind of like how they, really start to show more of kind of what the connection is with Michael and Laurie, but also the concept of what Michael Myers does, not only to Laurie, but for the entire town of Haddonfield and how that, affects everybody else. It was a dark take, but it was a very interesting thing to see. And yes, even though the movie feels and is just a part 2, because that's what it is, because we are getting the finale, we are getting a part 3 that I believe should be coming out this year maybe, or maybe 2023, I'm not entirely sure, which is Halloween Ends. Even with how Halloween Kills ended, I'm still very excited to see where it's going to go. Yeah, I was shocked, but I'm still looking forward to seeing where this trilogy is going to end for Michael Myers and Laurie Strode. Super excited for that. The second honorable mention is going to be Sword Art Online Progressive Aria of a Starless Night, the movie. Even though if you've seen the anime, it is basically a rehash of the first 2 episodes with not so much new things. There is new in there, but it doesn't take up the whole movie because a lot of it, again, is rehash. But the reason why I have to give it an honorable mention is because, since Sword Art Online means so much to me and I was actually able to see an SAO movie in the theaters, I was still really happy. And I'm also excited to see, like Halloween Kills, where the next movie is going to go, because now we're in uncharted territory. Since I've never read the progressive storyline, I have no idea what's going to happen, and I'm excited to go in not knowing what's going to happen in this story with Kirito and Asuna. And one thing I probably did forget to mention at the ending of my first reaction of Aria of a Starless Night, But actually, no, I don't think I could because of spoilers. But now the movie's been out for a while. The ending of this movie is entirely different from how episode 2 of the story is. So that was something new, and that's something I wasn't expecting. So that was really cool to see and really got me excited too for the eventual sequel. So there is that. And I mean, beautiful animation. I love Sword Art Online. It gets an honorable mention. And if you're not a fan and you don't want to watch the show, the movie may be a good starting point for you. But as a hardcore fan myself, and if you are fans out there, go ahead and give it a watch. You know, if you're bored, you know, you want to see what it's all about, give it a watch. And the third honorable mention, which honestly, if I ended up doing a top 10, this would definitely be on there. Free Guy, starring Ryan Reynolds. That movie, ever since the very first trailer, because this is a movie that was supposed to, God, I think it was supposed to come out in 2019 or 2020. I'm not sure. You guys let me know in the comments below. But after the very first trailer for Free Guy, I wanted to see this movie. And I went to see this movie on a whim. You know, I didn't care if it was going to be a bad movie or a really great movie. I just wanted to see, because Ryan Reynolds, video games, I need to see where this goes. And this movie really took me by surprise. I think that if you are a gamer, you are obligated to watch this movie. And if for those of you have heard all the stories about this movie and how everyone's reacted to it, go ahead and give it a watch. It's a really good movie. And I think the movie got confirmed for a sequel. I'm not entirely sure, but I know that Disney and 20th Century Fox want to do a sequel. So hey, I'm all for it. Just make sure you bring back Ryan Reynolds. That's all I ask. Okay, so those are the honorable mentions of 2021. So now let's get into my top 5. This top 5, it was kind of easy for me to put these movies into place for different reasons. And I think all in all, because again, this is my opinion, these are my personal top 5 favorites. If you have your own, let me know in the comments below. But I'm going to explain the reasons with each one, all right? So let's get started with number 5. Number 5 is Demon Slayer Mugen Train, the movie. Now, for those of you that have been watching the channel and saw my very first review for Season 1 of Demon Slayer, I became a fan of this series towards the ending of 2021. Probably end of October, maybe beginning of November, I started getting into it. And I just love it. I've said it also in my other reviews for Season 1 and for my review of the Mugen Train movie. And the reason, and even though, unfortunately, this movie did release towards the beginning of 2021, but since I didn't become a fan until at the end of the year, I actually saw this movie via streaming on Funimation. So I didn't see this in theaters, which is a major bum, because now I wish I was a fan earlier and I did get to see it in theaters, because this would have been really cool to see on the big screen. So if they ever bring this back to the big screen, I will be paying money to see it on the big screen. But even just streaming it, I fell in love with this show. And even though the final episode literally is the prologue of the movie, I was still very excited to see where the characters were going to go. And from what my good friend told me was that Mugen Train was the start of the second season. So how do you kick off the next season of a show? You start it with a movie. And I thought that was great. The movie does a great job showing us some new characters, but also does a great job setting up the next story arc for the second half of the second season, which is currently going on right now, and I love every single bit of it. But yeah, the movie had great action. The visuals were still amazing. Very emotional without getting into spoilers. Very good movie. If you guys aren't watching Demon Slayer, just watch it, please, and then watch this movie. And also watch the new story arc that's going on right now. It's hilarious. It's great. And I love it. Mugen Train, number 5 on the list. Okay, number 4, I don't own it yet, but number 4 is My Hero Academia World Heroes Mission. Yes, another anime film. Anime had really good movies this year. And the reason why World Heroes Mission is number 4 is because that was my first anime movie that I actually got to see in theaters. I'm not counting Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie because that was the only one that I really watched growing up, but ever since I was in college, I really started watching more anime. World Heroes Mission was my actual first real anime movie theater experience, and it was everything I wanted to be. The fans were so great, so kind. It was just all great. That whole experience was just absolutely amazing. Even though the movie kind of got a little, it slowed down a bit towards the middle. It had some great character development, and I still enjoyed it from start to finish. And experiencing a movie like that with fans was just something that I'm never going to forget. And I can't wait for the Blu-ray to come out because I really want to watch it again because it's not in theaters anymore. So that sucks. But yes, World Heroes Mission number 4. Number 3 is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I knew nothing about this character when it was announced. I knew absolutely nothing about Shang-Chi. But when that first trailer hit the internet, oh my God, I was hooked I was hooked right then and there. I knew very little of the casting besides, Awkwafina being in it, and I think she is absolutely hilarious. I was excited for this movie. The 2 main trailers that were released for this movie really got me pumped from where it was going as a story, the music, and everything about this movie was just great. I was only able to see it in theaters one time, but as soon as it debuted on Disney Plus, I have watched this movie so many times. And you're probably asking yourself, well, wait a minute, if you watched it on Disney Plus, why do you have the Blu-ray? Well, I need it for my MCU collection. But I'm not going to lie to you guys, even though this is for my collection, I do actually prefer the Disney Plus version because it has the IMAX format. And I love the IMAX format because it's more of what you're supposed to see of the movie. And I have watched this movie so many times, and that's no joke. I really do love this movie. I love its story. I love its characters. Its action. It's some of the best action that we've had in a Marvel movie. If we're going all the way back to the Winter Soldier, like this is a good and great competition for it. Maybe even a little bit better. If I'm being, for me personally, 100% honest. This movie kicks so much ass, and if you have not seen this movie yet and you are an MCU fan, what are you doing? Go watch it. It's on Disney Plus or get it on Blu-ray. Whatever you want to do. Shang-Chi, number 3. Okay, number 2. This was a little bit difficult, but I had my reasons. Number 2 is Spider-Man No Way Home. This movie, ever since the ending of Far From Home, I was excited to see what they were going to do with this next Spider-Man movie. Now, when all of the rumors started going on the internet, a lot of hype went into this movie, and there was a lot of worry because what if the hype wasn't real? No Way Home proved it, that the hype was indeed real. Some of those rumors were indeed true. And it was probably the best movie theater experience I had of 2021. And I haven't really had that kind of experience. Probably, good God, if I'm really going back to it for a movie of that caliber, probably Avengers Endgame, really. I mean, I still enjoyed The Rise of Skywalker, but my theater never really had that big a reaction. Probably the last big reaction I had to a movie in theaters was, in fact, Avengers Endgame. And No Way Home just topped that dramatically. As someone who grew up with Spider-Man, this was everything I wanted it to be. But also as someone who loves Tom Holland and wants to see a continuation of his character, I also got that in this movie. And I want to see more. Even though we're still kind of unsure where the future is with Spider-Man, at least we know he is going to appear in one more MCU film, so at least we get to see that. But personally, I want to see more of his character. I know he said he might be tired of it and he wants to kind of take a step back with acting, but dude, you really set the bar with this movie, you and your whole team, so we got to know where this goes. So yeah, No Way Home, number 2. Now, guys, let's be real here. My number one movie of 2021. If you've been following this channel since the very beginning, I'm pretty sure you guys are well aware of what my number one movie is. But just in case you don't, I will say it right now. My number one movie of 2021, and still to this day is one of my favorite movies of all time, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now, yes, for those of you that don't know, I am a Zack Snyder fanboy. I absolutely loved Man of Steel. Batman v Superman is one of my favorite superhero films of all time. I don't care, roast me in the comments all you want. It still is. The reason why this gets number one is not just the fact that it is a really great movie, but also the journey that came with this movie, because there was a time where we really didn't think we were going to get this. There really wasn't. After seeing 2017's Justice League, I was really disappointed. I was really upset. And when the first picture for the Release the Snyder Cut movement started, I hopped aboard that train because I wanted to see what Zack Snyder was going to bring to the table. I wanted to know where his story was going to go. And that whole journey from the ending of 2017 all the way to 2021, this was a journey. It was a journey that I supported, and all the little teases that Zack did, from the live chat of Batman v Superman, the live chat of Man of Steel, where he revealed that we were getting the Snyder Cut. I was there for all of that. It was insane. All the way to the very first trailer for this movie. Everything that Zack said was true. The movie was 4 hours long. It gave the characters such good story and, made them more relatable and, actually added to their character, unlike what the 2017 atrocity did. This movie was absolute perfection. Even though I was unfortunate enough to not see this in theaters, I still remember where I was and how I saw this movie, and it was still an emotional experience, and I was glad that I was able to see it the way I did, which was waking up at the ass crack of dawn, driving to my grandparents' house because there was no one home, so I had total silence, and I got myself a quick thing of breakfast. I turned on the TV, and I watched all 4 hours, no breaks, all in one sitting. That is true. And now it's come to the point where I can say to myself, I was part of the Snyder Cut movement, to now saying I have seen the Snyder Cut, to now finally being able to say I own the Snyder Cut, because we weren't sure if we were ever going to get it on Blu-ray either. We honestly didn't know. If it was going to be only for streaming, then yeah, at least I knew that I could always go back to HBO Max to watch it, but I wanted a physical copy of this. And believe it or not, guys, when this actually released on Blu-ray, for those of you that don't know, there were shortages because everybody was pre-ordering it and everybody was taking it out of store shelves. I'm not joking on this. Look it up. That's how good of a movie this is. And again, it's another example of what happens when you let a director make his vision. And it shows you how audiences react to that story. It really does. And that's why ultimately this movie has to be number one for me, because that whole journey began in 2017 and ended in 2021. That's a long time. And the fact that we weren't sure we were ever going to get this movie, it shows a lot of how much that movement was and meant to people. And which is why I still watch this movie on a daily basis because I love it so much. And if we don't get the next installment from Zack Snyder and those heroes, then you know what? Which is kind of looking more likely now because I think Ben Affleck's done as Batman, which sucks. At least we still have this. And I'm happy. Even though it ends with a little bit of a cliffhanger, I'm still 100% satisfied that we were able to get this. And that's why Zack Snyder's Justice League is my number one movie of 2021. If you have not yet seen this, but you have seen Justice League, you need to watch this ASAP. I don't care if you take breaks. You have to watch this movie. Really good year for movies, guys. Really good year. And that is my top 5 movies of 2021. We had some really good ones in there, and it looks like we've got some really interesting ones coming our way this year. Even though some probably might end up getting delayed, Morbius. I'm still excited to see what the future holds this year for movies. I always get excited when a new year starts because we've got a lot more new movies to see. And I'm curious to see where it goes. Let me guys know what your top 5 movies are in the comments below. Let me know if you agree with my list. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I do have some other projects that I might be working on. It all just depends on time. I had a really good day today, and I really just kind of wanted to make a video, so that's why I decided to do this. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.